I'm Muskan. I have grown up in Siliguri, and currently people know me as a public speaking coach and also as the founder of Your Voice. In my free time, I create and make content also on Instagram in another name, Coach Muskan Kandoi. That's what currently my profession is on a day-to-day basis. I'm training schools, colleges, corporates. I'm training everyone from the age of 3.5 to a 60 or 70-year-old. And it's basically on public speaking, soft skills, as well as an NLP.
Okay, that's great. So, can you please tell me a little bit about what intrigued you to become a public speaker eventually?
For me, it started off in this way that I was in 6th standard, the topper of the class usually. So usually how they are pushed to go ahead and take part in activities. I took part in debate. I went up on stage completely prepared, but I blanked.
Okay.
And I was confused. How could that happen to me? And after that, I never wanted to go on stage. But then 11th, 12th, life happened and I wanted to become a lawyer. I passed my exams, went for interview. When I was done in the interview, the question was, you do not have certificates for oration, for speaking. What about it? And I was sitting there clueless. My reflex answer was, because I'm scared of public speaking. And that's when it dawned on me that how important this fear is in me, that I'm so scared of it that I do not even want to face that fear. And I realized I have to work on it. I dropped law, that's aside. I got onto BBA, I did my college, and that's when I started working on this skill with the help of Toastmasters. That's an organization which is a platform for public speaking. I worked on my skills. I came out of my comfort zone every single meeting, which was very difficult. Because it's like you are going in a jungle and you are just standing there waiting to be a prey of all the lions around you. It feels like that. But life happened and then I worked on it. I started progressing. People call me a born speaker nowadays, which I very modestly say I am not. I am a learned speaker. I have learned this skill over time. And slowly and gradually, when COVID hit, I had 2 jobs in line. But then one of my aunts told me, Muskan, why don't you pursue this as a profession? At that moment, it seemed like a joke. But today, when I see it, it sounds something so valuable that I've started giving to children. Because when I'm teaching or training a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, I know how it's going to help him or her. And they will not be in the position that I was when I was in 6th standard.
Very inspiring, Muskan. Love the story.
Thank you.
And the fact that you decided to instill such skills in children of the mere age of 3.5 to I don't know what not. There are, like you said, there are 60-year-olds,
Yes.
70-year-olds coming to learn public speaking from you, and that must feel so amazing. And I can only from here I can only understand the amount of zeal you're having while you're talking about it, and that is what we love. We love to listen to people talk about what they love, so that's great. So can you also tell me a little bit about, like you said, you became a public speaking coach eventually.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit of advice for anybody that wants to step in the arena.
Nowadays, public speaking does not only mean that you stand up on stage and addressing a crowd. It also means one-on-one communication with someone. It also means talking to your subordinates, talking to your managers. So to start off that, take on every opportunity that you get. You might be having a small function in your office. Why don't you take the opportunity to go up and host that? Why don't you take the opportunity to organize a small event there? Because when you're doing that, you're actually putting yourself through something that you haven't done before. And that is going to open doors for you. Probably you're going to fail and you're going to learn for a lifetime. Or you're going to succeed so much that you feel, oh, this is something, this is where I belong. The stage is my power. That is for every individual. And someone who wants to go ahead and become a public speaking coach, I would say go through the formal training of public speaking. However, start making your own curriculum. Because what the way you have learned public speaking, the way you know public speaking is what matters ultimately. This is what I would like to say.
Okay, that is great. So, one thing that I had also personally faced in my earlier life, that is, I have always been talkative, an extroverted person. But what usually used to happen is not my vocabulary. It always used to boil down to my nervousness. That is, I am talking about this because most people face this issue and they are feeling very anxious, every time they go on a stage and they have to address even 5 people. They are like, oh God, kaise kare? They do that. So, any tips for that?
I would say that's something very real. If today you tell me that Muskan, you have to address a crowd of 1,000 people, I wouldn't be very confident, like, oh, I'm going to own the stage. I'm going to have those butterflies in my stomach, like, oh my God, what's going to be? But I want those butterflies because it makes me not overconfident. It makes me want to practice. It makes me want to go through the content, prep well. That is for me. But for someone who is nervous, someone who feels anxious, I would like to say it's a very natural feeling because you are doing something which a lot of people are not courageous to do. Glossophobia, the fear of public speaking, is known as the number one fear, above death also. People are so scared of public speaking. So my tip would be number one, to of course prepare your content. You should know what you are speaking. Share stories. Because whenever you are sharing general statements, it's very difficult for you to remember. It's very difficult for the audience to sink in that information. Always share stories. It can be your personal stories. It can be stories about someone you know, some celebrity, because people love listening to stories and they connect more. Nowadays, what do brands do? Even brands are doing this. Every brand you take is sharing an emotion, is sharing a story. That's number two. Number three, calm yourself before going on stage and start thinking everything is okay, I'll be good. Because the mindset before going on stage helps a lot. If you constantly think in your mind that, oh, I'm going to fail, I'm going to be terrible, people are going to laugh at me, that's bound to happen. You are attracting that negative energy for yourself. And the fourth I would like to say is that whenever you are on stage, instead of thinking that people are going to laugh and people are going to judge, I always say this, that there are people who have come to listen to you. They have invested maybe their time, their effort, or their money. Why would they want the speaker to fail? They would not think that, right? They would want the speaker to give something so meaningful that they can take away home.
If they're investing something, and even if there is no investment, everybody comes for a good show.
Definitely.
They are not trying to bring you down or anything. It's always our subconscious mind and our instilled fears that makes us feel that way. So that is there. Okay. So can you also please tell me a little bit about your voice? Because I would love to know in detail what your voice is, what it does, and how do you think it is groundbreaking or different in Siliguri's situation?
Definitely. So, Your Voice is the public speaking institute that I started off online. While I was online, I was training 5,000, 10,000 students in a year. And it was around the world. I have trained students from everywhere. But then I realized that there is this gap in Siliguri that is missing. And why do I keep cribbing? There's nothing available in Siliguri. Why don't I start it? There were other brands doing the same thing in Siliguri. However, I wanted to be different. I wanted to offer the same thing, the public speaking skills, at a subscription rate that everyone can afford. I wanted to be at the bottom of the pyramid. And that's when I started Public Speaking Institute. I started off with one branch where we had 18 students of the age group 5 years to 8 years. I started off with that bracket. We train students for a 6-month curriculum, weekly twice, on how they can interact with people, how they can talk to people, because kids usually shy off. With one branch, we moved on to 4 more branches in Siliguri. Everywhere we are training students. And the best part was, I never thought I would be able to train a 3.5-year-old. So that's when I realized in public speaking, age does not matter. It's the intent of the child or of the elder to learn. We are doing podcasts, we are doing YouTube, also in Your Voice, which is something that very different. Children, a 10-year-old is standing and making his own PowerPoint and giving presentations. Who would have thought that? So that is something that I wanted to bring in your voice, and we are completely doing that. So yes, that's about it.
That's great. So, for anybody watching or listening to this audio, for a parent, let's say, that has a young child, what advice would you like to give to them? I mean, definitely you will not tell them मेरे institute में भेज दो ऐसा कुछ नहीं, but definitely it has to be about कि क्या advice आप देना चाहेंगे so that their children are more, they are, at least they feel more safe to talk to other people,
Right.
and they are more confident in themselves.
So the first thing I would like to say is mugging up something and then blurting it out is very easy. Any child who has gone through that, who is sitting and doing it for 5 days, can do that excellently. But what matters is brainstorming. What matters is imagination of the child. And that is something that can be developed at a very early age. What we do with 3.5, which I also tell the parents can do, is give them random objects, give them a bottle, and tell them speak 5 lines about it. Make it playful. Because when a child is looking at objects and speaking about it, they are understanding the shape, they're understanding what is it made up of, what is it used for. So their imagination starts working. When you're telling them stories, don't make them learn the story. Show them a story on YouTube and tell them, okay, now you tell me the story, whatever you understand in your own words. Not necessarily in English also. Because English we need to understand is a way of communication.
Just a medium.
Just a medium. If today someone asks me, do you know Japanese, do you know Chinese? I wouldn't be ashamed of it. But when someone asks you, you don't know English, why do you get ashamed? It's a medium of communication. The main matter is the child should be able to communicate, should be able to share. After they come from somewhere, ask them, how was your experience? Usually parents just ask, maza aaya ki nahi aaya? That's it. So the child will say, of course, maza aaya. Ask them details about it. So when a child starts sharing all of this, they feel comfortable. They feel they are heard. And don't just ask them whenever you want to. Speak to them whenever they want to. So all these small things matter a lot.
Now, जैसे आपने बताया कि your voice का story हमें जानने मिला. Can you also know a little bit about Toastmaster? How you got into it? What did you think before joining Toastmaster?
So the one thing that I know, it's been a ride for me in Toastmasters. I did not think anything before going to Toastmasters. I only heard in my orientation that there's a platform which helps you grow in public speaking. I said I have to go for it. I dialed the number, I just searched Toastmasters club near me, and I was lucky enough that this one was opposite my hostel.
Okay.
So I went there, I had my first meeting, and I realized, okay, this platform is for me. And gradually, I got to know that it's present in 143 countries. There are so many clubs in every city. So I started growing there. I got opportunities to train people twice my age, thrice my age when I was a Toastmaster. When I came back to Siliguri, even Siliguri had 6 clubs.
This even we didn't know. This is something we had no idea about.
Yeah.
So please tell me more.
So Toastmasters is basically a public speaking platform, which is for 18 plus. And it's a peer-to-peer learning group. And it's like other organizations, but here you work on yourself rather than working for the community. And I grew in Toastmasters in public speaking journey. I achieved the highest honor, which is called a Distinguished Toastmaster, DTM. I'm the youngest DTM from the entire North Bengal. And I started my leadership journey. So currently, I am heading the entire Northeast, all the states there, Bhutan, Siliguri, and Darjeeling for Toastmasters. It's a completely voluntary organization. I do not get paid for it, but it has given me so much value. It's become a catalyst for my growth that I cannot stop talking about it. And I feel that every individual who is 18 plus of age and wants to work on their personal development, wants to work on their communication, should definitely be a part of the platform and at least experience one meeting of it.
Got it. Definitely, I've taken my notes and definitely going to sign up for one class there. Also, now we have discussed about a lot of things.
Yes.
What advice you want to give to other people as a potential public speaking coach, as someone that just wants to improvise their own public speaking skills. Everything we have discussed about. I lastly want to ask you that again. I want to ask this to you again. That for someone starting their own journey, be it in public speaking, I'm not only saying public speaking, anybody that wants to start their own journey as an entrepreneur in Siliguri, in their very own hometown, How does it feel? What to do, what not to do?
The best part, I would say, is we stay in Siliguri. It has so much potential. It has so much to offer because the resources are available. You have an audience which has not experienced something that you are going to offer. And you do not have a lot of competition. So it's easy to create your niche, it's easy to create your brand. You have relatives, you have friends helping you. And I would say that support means so much when you're building a brand. The first thing that I started off with is understand your audience, understand your target market here, because you cannot have everyone as a target market. You have to niche down. Like in your voice, my venture, I have niched down that my target is this age group who want to develop their public speaking skills. I cannot take every child walking on the road that, oh, you come join my institute, because they might not be interested. Identifying the target audience. Number two, building your brand ultimately. Today, I have built my personal brand so much that people know me by my name, that, oh, Muskan, okay, public speaking coach. So building your brand is so much important. Being digitally present, 100% required. Plus, in your city, like in my city, Siliguri, I would like to say that there are people who have done the work that probably you are planning to do. Go and talk to them. You have people available. You have people who are great entrepreneurs here. Talk to them. Take advice from them. So these are small things that you should definitely do. What you shouldn't do is take your audience for granted. That, oh, whatever I'm going to offer, they're going to take. No, they are smart. And number two is, do not just keep planning. Execute.
Action.
Take action, because just planning in your head and waiting that, okay, 1 year later I'll start this, then it's going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. Let's just tell that. It's never going to be perfect. Starting small is also important. Just the main thing is start.
Start.
Yeah.
So, guys, start. Please start. If you are planning to do something, if you want to start something of your own, like she said, please start. Do not wait for the perfect plan to come to your mind, the perfect idea to hit you. So, I have taken notes. If I start something on of my own, then I'll let you know.
Definitely.
Muskan, with that, we would like to end this amazing chit chat that we had. So, thank you, Muskan. Thank you for having us here. And we loved talking to you. And hopefully, we are connected and we keep talking more in the future. So, it was great. Thank you. Toodles. Bye bye. Bye bye, Karuya.
Bye bye.